Alrighty YouTube, another one of Kip's Clips. So I've got I'm no way going to fit this into all the minutes, but hopefully there's going to be a wee bit of everything. This is going to take you everywhere, from the golden ratio, the Eye of Horus, what is it he's calling it, the golden ratio, the Eye of Horus, claiming the divine proportion, what else have we got? The Fibonacci sequence, 666. We've got the Great Fire of London. We've got all sorts thrown in here, right? So first of all, let me try and explain. You need to go and watch this, man. I know it's an hour long, so I'm going to try and break it down. This guy's talking about the corporation that is created with your birth certificate, the system that's been set up and shipped everywhere else all over the world to enslave people. You literally become property of the state. They own your legal corporation fiction, and they can make money with it and do what they want with it. And this is going to blow you away. I'll take you to right. Well, first of all, right, let's just have a wee look at what I've got here. I've got a golden ratio up, right? I've got Donald Duck, something to check out if you want to start to understand the golden ratio. There's the golden ratio. Got the Fibonacci sequence, and that comes in with, for example, the ratio of 3. So the one out of 1 and 2. Because if you look at the Fibonacci sequence, you've got 1 and 2, then 3 is the first one. If that makes sense. So the Fibonacci sequence, which is very important to mathematicians, the first one out of 1 and 2, and what's it come to? 166. And then we're going to talk about the Act of 1666, the Vie Act, right? So we've got the Fibonacci sequence. Right, then we've got the golden ratio turning up with the Eye of the Horus, which turns up on your pyramids, right? Pyramids have the golden ratio in it. Golden ratio, pineal gland, Eye of Horus. Hopefully people will know where because I'm trying to cram all this into 15 minutes. And I've got hundreds of stuff up. Hundreds, right? But right, I was just going on about the golden ratio, looking at divine proportion. These are all things, I'll try and link all this down below, but you should all go and look into it yourself. Here's the golden ratio again. Now this is it, the Cestui Act 1666. That bloody thing there, right? Go and check that out. It isn't a fiction, it's real, right? Oh, because Wikipedia says so, yes! Right, but it's an Act of Parliament of England 1666, right? The Act was partly in force in Great Britain at the end of 2010. Not really much else on it, is there? Right, there's the Statute Law Revision Act. Damn it, I've not read them, but I won't fit that in. Go and do it yourself. What I have read is the Cestui Act of 1666. Same year, the Great Fire of London happened. This is the excuse they used to bring in this act. Now, then what I'll go on to show you. Now, you might think Cestui Act doesn't mean nothing, right? But anybody who goes into their old Black's Law Dictionary, I'll leave a link for a PDF page that you can go and download this. This is Black Law's 4th, relatively up to date. And I recommend everybody read this, man. Anybody that's going into court, read this shit. This is the language they speak. Right, so here's him whose life is the measure of the duration of an estate. The person from whose life any lands, tenants and hediments are held. Now I'm going to let this guy do some of the explaining. Just showing you all this because this guy can do it a lot better than me. he talks about, let me see, like he's talking about the birth certificate and how they declare you dead from birth. If you go and look at the case of Vie Act, shit, I just had it, didn't I? If you go and look at the case of Vie Act, provides always that if provided always that if a person or persons shall be evicted out of any lands or tenements by venture of this act, and afterwards if such person or persons upon whom's life or life's such estate or estates, that's your estate, go and look into the legal definition of your estate, depends, shall return against from beyond the seas. So they're basically saying you're lost at sea, because it's admiralty law, and if you're lost at sea, you're off the boat, you're no longer on. So they're wanting you on the boat, on their ship, under their rules, and that's what this case of Vie Act is saying. And I'm murdering it. Going to let this guy speak. Now the first thing he talks about the Fibonacci sequence. It's about 17 minutes in, because this is an hour long. 1741. I'm looking for. This is good. I'm going
on claiming the divine proportion. We were unaware that the divine proportion existed, and that's what we need to do, bring forward the all.
Sorry, I forgot to say. He's saying about the birth certificate at birth. We all know about your parents being your informants. Now, they ask your mum for her maiden name on the birth certificate, and the dad's name and the mum's name are in different boxes. And he's saying, legally speaking, creating a separation, whereas announcing the mum just to be the informant, as the mum handovers the child to the doctor after birth, and when the doctors take the DNA, this let me see some. Right, and when the doctors take the DNA, they cut the placenta. It then becomes lost property. And that's how they claim subject, because they create the name, the legal fiction, making you a subject. And matter, where are they getting the matter from? They've got the matter because they've got your DNA, or they sometimes take the baby's footprints. Now this is what you need to go and listen to this guy. I'm murdering it. And then that's where they get subject matter jurisdiction, and that's later in due to 1666. You're a dead fiction corporation, and that's why you're then related to that corporation, because they take away. You're no longer a whole man. He will explain it better than me.
All of us to make us whole again, because until we become whole, we're just fractals. That's what it's sort of like the Fibonacci sequence. You got the Vitruvian man. In order to become whole, they got you in their sequence, and that's why they get to use derivatives of the name, and they create derivatives off those derivatives off your name. And especially for women who get married multiple times, they're creating they take on new names, so it's new corporation. Every time they take on the first, middle, last, they're creating a new corporation, a new joinder event for the estate, for the state to create more estates. And I've seen that with the marriage contracts on women who have been married multiple times. They've got.
Right, I'll leave it there. That was him talking about the Fibonacci sequence. The Fibonacci sequence includes 1666. You've got the case of Vie Act of 1666 declaring everybody lost, it's everybody dead, thereby creating the corpse, the corporation, the legal fiction. And this was back in 1666, and this way of enslaving people by birth certificates has been put in place. Next, he's talking about 1666 being used. 23. 16 I'm looking for. That's going to have to do it.
Well, the 1666 thing, that was, here's some irony for you. Now, you can't make this stuff up, brother. This is beautiful, because on our documents, we show the Fibonacci sequence, and then we show the mathematical equation, and it shows, 666 being the beast. That's the irrational man, and the whole. So look, you brother, this is blows me away. Look at the damn deal. 1666, 1.666 makes you the whole man. If you're just a 0.666, you're the irrational man. The rational man is the 1.666. But look at the damn Cestui Trust. It's 1666. So do you think it's a coincidence with the 1666? They were announcing it to us, and that's why they had to give you an out under subsection 4 of the 1666 Vie Act. And guess what? They covered their ass. But the irony is, we figured it out. We figured out the mathematical equation because it's all a mathematical equation. Incredible stuff, brother. This is the most amazing ride I've been on for the last 90 days.
See, so he explains it far better than me. 1666 being 1.666 according to the I forgot what he says there, makes you a whole. Due to the 1666 Act, what they're doing is they're making you less of a whole man, and you need to go and listen to him. What you need, like he's talking about, reclaiming and there's apparently this is a way of doing this, and I'll show you in the Vie Act that he's talking about, in the Vie Trust, which is basically your legal fiction. It's in the Black's Law Dictionary. Here's the Vie Trust. He who has a right, and go and see how often this comes up. He who has a right to beneficial interest in and out of an estate. Therefore, you can make money from that estate, the legal fiction, the corporation that's created in this legal land. But you also need to pay the piper if they come calling. It's a contract. You also need to, if they rock up and go, right, well, okay, you've been earning wages, but I want X amount. That's how they then claim you as a person, a corporation. The person who possesses the equal right to property and receives the rents, issues and profits, therefore, the legal estate of which vested in a trustee. Now, let me just get to the Vie Act. And as you can see, this is a government website. Here's the actual website itself. Right, so this is a legislation government website. Click on that, takes you to this. Or shall on proof of any action to be brought for recovery of the same. I know this is remember this is written in 1666. I can hardly read it the best of times, so bear with me, read it yourselves, probably best, but I will try. And then and therefore, there is a bit I want to get to that. Lands or tenants of his or their former estate for and during the life or lives or so long term as the said person or persons upon whose lives or lives and estates or estates depend shall be living. Now, here's the bit I wanted to show you. Wasn't that bit? I'm pretty sure. Beyond sea for 7 years together and no proof of their lives. So this is an act of parliament. So legally speaking, they're declaring everybody dead, lost at sea. Remaining beyond sea means beyond sea. Lost at sea. They're gone. Legally speaking, gone for 7 years. And it goes back to like when sailors used to go to sea and they used to be lost. Well, they couldn't like settle their estate and stuff. So this is just like declaring everybody lost at sea, so their estate transfers over automatically to the state. So just the state then becomes your daddy, and that's why in the birth certificate they separate the mum and the dad's name. and the dad doesn't know under this system, unless he's clued up, that he needs to claim, I don't know,